Well, I thought I would take you through another experience of explaining what we're going to do. We're going to spend 12 months going through each part of the family tree that corresponds to your capacity to feel. And it's going to go through very specific sequences. And I'm going to remind you what those sequences are until they become second nature. The idea is to focus on the increase of your capacity to feel, starting with your ability to be able to at least consider or imagine that your soul was once conceived in a pristine environment associated to, in the metaphor of water, a lake of peace. Then we're going to take that lake of peace into a feeling and link it to all 12 essential sectors or parts of your family tree. And we're going to intentionally, month by month, follow the sequence that is directly associated with the times of the day starting at sunset. So then we will do sunset to the time to go to bed, typically, the dark part of the night that now goes into the sixth girl, and so on. And we'll describe why these images are there. We'll describe how to use them. Now, here's what I'm going to suggest to you. And it is something that you will have to look at the logic of, and that you can only know it's true by experimenting. I'm saying if you do something repeatedly, you're going to set up an interior habit or an interior link. You're going to choose to experience an increase of feeling in a particular way. I'm saying 3 months, one season of repeating this process just a little bit at a time. 3 months of repeating that. If you stop, it's going to continue to keep circulating for you at the degree to which you practiced it. 3 months will set up a habit, an interior long-term memory associated with your sincere desire to want to feel your own soul and to receive every trigger with peace, and to give every outbound impulse with peace. I've used the term in peace, and you can use them synonymously, that I want to be living in peace and receiving everything that comes to me in peace, with peace, and respond to every trigger with peace. Now that's saying a lot. Now, here's something that I'm going to tell you frequently between now and the beginning of the next year. Do this for 3 months, you're going to hit a wall. That wall is going to be a boundary of your old emotional memories. And that boundary is very real. It's going to be the boundary of your social emotional belief systems and limitations. It's going to be a boundary about how you feel about your mother, your parents, yourself, and how your mother feels about herself and how your grandmother feels about herself. You're going to hit boundaries. And I'm going to do my best to remind you how these boundaries feel. And you start to do this, they're going to start to arrive right away. But by the time you go through it 3 months, they get even stronger. But you would have developed an instrument or a skill set that gives you the ability to pass it through peace, through the 4-girl experience of learning how to let go, open, allow, dissolve, and then go into the faith of light. So you would have developed an instrument to take you through the processing of your emotional boundaries. Remember, this is an experiment, so it should make sense. Every single step of what we're asking you to experiment with, to consider experimenting with, should make sense. There should be a logical reason why you're doing everything. And you have to ask yourself, do you want to feel more of your own personal, authentic, unique existence? Do I want to feel more? Well, in order to discover the more, I need to feel more. And then you're going to hit those boundaries, and you'll hit them every day. So that's why those boundaries are called your law of attraction. Your law of attraction is going to be different than mine, but it's the same law of attraction for both of us. We're creating this. Now, if you're consciously willing to go through the increase of feeling and then dissolve that into the nighttime, you can release a great deal of things just by going to sleep, or just by taking a bath and then going to sleep. Then you'll have the ability to go into the stars or the light, which will give you the greater ability to process what's holding you back and the greater ability to increase the skill set of what comes next. That's called, where this little gold line is, that's called inspiration. So you want to go from where you are now to a higher degree of inspiration. Right now, we're doing this with peace. Yes, later you'll have the option, when you want to, you can start now if you want to, by saying you want to do this in love, with love. But I'm saying there is a stage where the personal development to experience love has to come from a personal responsibility to feel more first, and then to gradually remove the constrictions of your facade, your limitations, your addictions, gradually looking at them, beginning to dissolve them, because the true reality to love will really be when you have fewer of those. Yes, you can love a little bit now, and yes, you can receive divine love now, but you can receive more after you gradually remove those drivers of the reasons why you deny it. Not important to go into it, but step by step, I'm going through this. I'm going to share my experiences with you, and I'm going to do this myself more passionately over the next year. Then on the 2, very cool, from my perspective at least, on the second year, it's going to have a different impact, because then we really start to look at the actual relationship between sex. What's the relationship between the women in your family tree and the men in your family tree? The women on your mother's side and the men on your mother's side, we're going to be looking at the feeling emotional boundaries, or the jewel flower component inside of me, inside of my family tree, between men and women. But before we do men and women, we're going to be doing the women first of the mother's side of the family. And then the men of the mother's side of the family will do the entire mother's side of the family once before we even actually do the father's side of the family. If you can look at it this way, the outside is masculine, the inside is feminine. The outer experience of what I have in my law of attraction is going to be a direct reflection of the false belief systems or the truth I have inside myself. If I have false belief systems in my interior world, like I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, I have shame, I'm not loved, and so on, that's going to be the outer social projection of what my law of attraction will feed back to me. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So the inner world starts with sunset and your mother's family. That's kind of where we're going. This is just an overview. I'll keep reminding you, and I'll bring you different images at different times. None of this is designed to be totally complete, but we're going to go through this, and I'll explain each phase of this as we go through it. Every month for a year. Then we get to do number 2. Oh, did I mention there's number 3? Well, you know what a 3 is. A 3 is really strong. 3 is also the experience of the outer embodiment of that which you've set in motion in your 1. Right now, we're really doing 1, and the 1 is you doing you and me doing me. Later on, we'll have the ability to share and circulate our fraternal experience to give and receive. Yeah, love is pretty important then. But for now, it's just you. Get some courage, do your best, practice, and feel free. You are encouraged to ask questions every step of the way. Maybe I won't get to all of them all of the time, but I'll do my best. And if you really want to, if I forget something or ignore it, ask it again if it's really important to you. I'll either do it in text or I'll do it in a recording. If I do it in a recording, everyone will have access to it. So be willing to be transparent. This is transparency. Okay? I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I am. See ya.